collapsing and imploding. That's what it looks like to me. I'm going to share some thoughts here with you. Let me know what you think about this. Um, and here's the thing, it's not surprising because, as we know, three things cannot be hidden, attributed to the Buddha: the sun, the stars, and the truth. I think that's how it went. The truth always comes out, right? The truth always comes out, whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years from now. It just, I like to go back and think of this idea of, if you try to suppress life, whether it's a weed or some natural flow of a river or something like that, if you try to suppress life, it will always find a way. Life finds a way. And truth is like that as well. People figure it out, right? People figure it out, because anything that is not in alignment with truth, not in alignment with goodness and godness, has to have so much energy behind it to prop up the lie that eventually they fall under their own weight. And this is kind of what Ilan Pape was talking about. I shared a video of his, maybe a week or two ago on, you can find it in the Hot Topic series. And he says that he's cautious about saying this, but he feels Zionism is its last stage, right? It's in its last stage. It's collapsing under its own weight. The Hasbara media machine cannot support it any longer. All of the best advertisers and marketers in the world that the Israeli government has hired to whitewash what they've been doing there, no amount of money can save it. Once it starts collapsing and once the fire of truth starts spreading, you can't put it out. And this is why people are waking up to the government. They're waking up to our government's crimes all over the world. Crimes against numerous governments. The CIA has meddled in 80 to 100 governments all around the world. I was just on William Bloom's website, williambloom.org, the other day, and he's got a whole list of all the countries that the United States has meddled in their affairs. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. That's being exposed. All of the medical things, crimes against humanity, again, that the United States have been involved in, that's being exposed. Pharmaceutical corporations are being exposed, right? People are waking up to that. They're not helping people be healthier, that's for sure. Yeah, I do want a haircut. I don't need one now, but I'll get with you later when I need one. So many things are being exposed right now in the world because of the truth that is coming out. There's some kind of an awakening moving across the world, and I don't think the government can keep up with it. Right. I sometimes think about what Harry Brown said. He wrote the book, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World, back in the 70s or 80s, to be quite honest. And he said that, let's see, shout out name, please, for hair. Shout out name, please, for hair. Let's see. Hey, man, please look into the camera. I'm about to. Oh, hey, thanks. Yeah. Jesus is black and people waking up. Dude, I agree with that. No, Harry Brown said that it's easy to stay ahead of government because they're slow and cumbersome, right? They move slow. It's a big behemoth machine. And the fire of truth and awakening that is happening right now in the world is just taking over. And once that takes hold, you can't stop it. Like, there's something going down. I hope so. I hope Jesus is coming back. Until then, I'm down with the awakening that is happening and people waking up to the lies and deception in our world. It was bound to happen. All criminal cartels fold under their own weight eventually. Who was saying it the other day? Oh, I've got a video from the Shah of Iran, of all people. This was back in the probably 80s, a 60 Minutes interview. And the guy said, Zionism will collapse because even the political influence, he was talking about AIPAC and the political influence of Zionism, it will even be to its own detriment eventually, right? It will destroy itself because it won't serve itself. Like, if you've got so much invested in skewing the American mind, right, and diverting American tax dollars and snowing people, like lying to them, eventually people going to wake up. I mean, people are waking up now as Americans are, dealing with inflation. I want to say double digit. It's pretty insane. And then they find out how much our government is spending on Israel. They're like, nah, that's not cool. We're done with that. Because when times get lean, no, you start looking around how you can save some money, and they're saving some money because people are like, why are you sending all this money overseas and buying bombs and supporting the military industrial complex and fighting endless wars all over the world, and we have massive problems here in the United States? People aren't down with it. Let's see what we got here. Da, da, da. No, not Bruce Willis, but I get that on occasion. God is the calling card of scammers. Is that okay? I see what you're saying. From which country are you? I'm in the US. I do believe American is Babylon, and I think Hollywood is like the epicenter of that. Can this be true that America justice system is best? I don't know about that. I mean, I think we have many aspects of America that are better than other places. Let's be real, but I also think we've been deceived. I think we're the land of deception, to be quite honest. Do I support gays? I don't really label people like that. I support human beings. Um, I think the whole LGBTQ thing is another way to divide human beings and divide humanity. I think government has divided us in so many ways, rich versus poor, gay versus straight, vaxxed versus unvaxxed. Thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. I mean, you name it, pro-war, anti-war, left, right, conservative, liberal. I think the more we're divided, the less we're going to succeed, to be quite honest. Yeah, I don't look at people at their gender. I think all those are psyops. There's a house in my town who has all the psyops, and I might catch some flack for this, but I'm going to throw it down anyways. Even the American, machine, like, oh, our country is better than your country. I don't buy that anymore either. But then Black Lives Matter, I think that's a psyop. I think the LGBTQ thing is a psyop. I think a lot of the things, like you, I appreciate the likes. Thank you. Can in USA mostly people rich? Being gay is unnatural. I don't judge, but don't agree. I mean, yeah, you got to live your own life and do your own thing. You look like a thumb. I get that on occasion too. Bruce Willis, a thumb. The other thing, I got Megamind once. Megamind, this character. I've never seen the movie, but they're not wrong. They're not wrong. The world is upside down. I agree with that too. Gay United States of Lesbingia is a worst country because of Donnie. Yeah, I think a lot of people are waking up to Donnie's deception. I'm one of them. I had a huge awakening months ago, well before the campaign. I'm over it. He's another tool to the establishment. Yeah, you look like a thumb too much. Yeah, it's the agendas. Why do people hate? Let me see here. Well, you guys are rolling in it. Why do people hate each other they've never met? Good question. Good question. Let's see. The North American indigenous people told me there was only one race, the human race. I agree to that. Amen to that statement. Hey, my name is Gabe Horn. My brother's name is Nick, her, and we like to watch YouTube. Can I and my brother have a shout out? You sure can. There you go. Hey, what's up, homie? Wake up. PSYOP. How is being gay a PSYOP? It's not, being gay is not a psyop. Here, this is my assessment. If the government, if you're seeing it on the mainstream media and the government, and they're on your team, so to speak, like they're pushing something, whatever they're pushing is, again, divisive and going to hurt Americans ultimately. Whether it's, I don't know, wars, if they're pushing wars, that's a bad news. If they're pushing, you know, medicine, it's not in your best behavior. Anything the government does is not in the best behavior of citizens or humanity. They're not, because they don't work for us. It's Foster Graham's pyramid of control, right? If you've seen Thrive 1, in Thrive 1, he talks about this pyramid of control. Power comes top down. The people, the 99% of people are at the bottom, right? And then you have the government, and then you have police and military and government. Power comes top down, but they've lied to us and bullshit us for so long. They say, oh, we the people, you the people have the power. This is your country. It's not our country. It never has been. That's why I think way back in the day, but you guys probably can't hear me. My mic's been off the way here. That's why I think way back in the day, when we won our independence from England, I call bullshit. I think it was a rich man's trick. Shout out to the movie, the documentary on YouTube, Rich Man's Trick. Phenomenal. I say it all the time now. Once you see that, you're like, oh, I see that as a rich man's trick. Basically, the division that happens from LGBTQ movement is a rich man's trick in my mind. Just like feminism, I believe, is a rich man's trick. I've got a video coming up. Aaron Russo, when he talked about, hey, I think he was talking to a Rockefeller at the time, David Rockefeller maybe, and he said, yeah, we got the people to believe that if the woman goes back to work, she'll feel more empowered and we'll make more taxes and we'll get the kids into the public education system, the public indoctrination system early in their life. And so the government can raise those kids. The parents don't get as much time to instill the values and principles that they want into the children, and the state raises the kids from 5 on. In that video, I'm also going to throw in some Gloria Steinem, I believe. She basically says how she was approached by the government, and it's crazy. It's crazy what's going on. I think feminism was a rich man's trick. I think all these other, if the government's on your side or promoting something, they're dividing you against your fellow Americans, and it's ultimately a bad scene, whether it's wars or financial collapses or whatever else. Whatever they're pro, I'm against. Okay, got off on a tangent there. And you have an extreme right too, by the way. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you're probably replying. But anyways, that's my thoughts. Are you expert in satellite and dishes? No, I'm not. But anyway, okay, back to the Israel propaganda machine. All propaganda machines are breaking down. And again, I think it's collapsing under their own weight. Now, the question is, how many people are really seeing through it? That's the $100,000 question. Because not everyone's probably seeing through it. I think about this all the time. The reason I woke up, I think, is because for 20 years, I wrote the media off big time. I was like, okay, you guys, I wrote media and government off. I was still partaking of movies and music, though, coming out of Hollywood. Probably not the most violent, angst-inducing music. Well, definitely not that, but still programming. I think they get us through music and movies and news and television, and newspapers and media. And you know who's a fantastic resource for the music is Unplug'em, UNPLUGGEM on YouTube. That guy, Brother Theo, is a phenomenal resource. He is shining the light of awareness on so much evil in the world, and he talks extensively about how the music industry uses that medium, lyrics and music, to screw people up, right? To cause anger, cause angst, to cause disharmony, right, within the human being. And then people go out and do wacky things. Also, the documentary called Uncle Tom 1 and 2, there's a 20-minute clip of Uncle Tom 1 on YouTube. And they talk about the music industry too, destroying the Black community. Being one of the factors destroy Black community. Let's be real. I think drugs and alcohol destroyed it, and I think it's that's a propaganda campaign too, largely pushed by, again, who's behind all the BS in our world. But the music industry, rap music and like gangster rap and thug music, it talks about how the Black community was largely Judeo-Christian 56, not even that long ago. But because of this music and this culture and this like pushing this narrative, where did it come from? Well, where do all these psyops come from? Right? Covert action agencies. I think so. And then they get in and back to the feminism thing, back to all these different things. It's wild. It's wild to think about, but once you start seeing it, you just see it everywhere. That's why people are waking up big time. Let me see what we got here. Yeah, the smart ones do see through it. And more people are waking up. I always like to joke and say, hey, I'm not the brightest bulb in the box. If I see it, millions have to be seeing it. Let's be real. Let's be real. They will wake up someday. They will. I always say pain is the great waker upper, unfortunately. And the prayer that I make to everyone is that the pain is just enough to wake you up, wake people up, and then goes completely away, because I don't want to see people in pain. But unfortunately, if you play with these clowns, there will be some level of pain. When will we change? That's the reason. Why USA is not very democratic. I'm this, you that, and zero middle ground. Yeah, polarization, division and polarization, and it's getting worse. But fortunately, I think people are waking up. And that's why I like to preach on my YouTube channel. Hey, like, divided we fall, united we stand. That's the game. It's us versus them. The other day on my social media at G Mark Phillips, I shared a comment from, I forget where I got that from, but they basically said, there is no right or left. There's us versus them. That's the way it is, right? Yeah, the US is interfering with other people's freedom. And that's one thing that pisses me off too, is, and it really makes me mad, and actually that's what a lot of my content is about, is exposing the lies in Iraq, right? We unalived millions of people, including those 500,000 babies age 1 to 5, largely due to sanctions, food and medicine sanctions. What the F? Like, I'll talk about that all day long till the day I die. We screwed up Libya, right? We bombed the eighth wonder of the world, Gaddafi's aqueduct system. I'm not saying Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein were good guys. The further I dig, I think I haven't heard much about Gaddafi, but Saddam Hussein apparently did do some heinous crimes against his own people. But it appears that he was provoked by the U.S. and the CIA. That's what I found. That's what I'm finding. Our hands have got a lot of blood on them, and I don't like it. But yeah, interfering with other people's freedom. Back to the 100+ countries we've meddled with over the years. It sucks. People with too much money. Yeah, too much money. And I think they have a power complex. They got a power trip. One, I think there's a deeper, more nefarious agenda and the CIA is pushing that. But I do believe there's there's a bigger play at hand. USA is a rich country. Forget about democracy, communism. You were right, Bruce Willis. Yeah, I get that a lot. Are you red? In history, no superpowers remained more than 2. Yeah, I've heard it. The changing world order, right? What's his name? Ray Dalio. People using the police the wrong way. Yep. Red means retired, extremely dangerous. No, I'm not. I'm just on the journey of awakening to truth. Watch Once Upon a Day or Time in Iraq. Okay, let me write that down. Once Upon a Day or Time in Iraq. Is that a video? I haven't heard about that one, but I will watch it. Once Upon a Day or Time in Iraq. Okay, thanks for the Gaddafi and African Central Bank. No comment. Yeah, it's sus that Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein both wanted to sell their oil for gold. And then all of a sudden, U.S. has to go in and bring freedom and democracy to those countries. If people can't put that together, I don't know what they're going to put together. Like, I don't know. And the thing of it is, I get, because I was, dude, I'm an American. I lived under the lie of what America is. We're the good guys. It's weird to think about now after all I've realized on my own dream, but it does take a concerted effort. And so I never get angry at other Americans when they still support the machine that is wreaking havoc in the world, because I used to be that, right? I can't really find fault with them because I used to be that. Phil, that is a statement of a simpleton, okay? Do wear thongs. Is it a rat race to the top? And to hell with you, you hack mentality, okay? Why some people hating Indians? I don't know. Why some people hating anybody, right? Would you be in favor of the Alex Stein immigration policy? I don't know what that is. Thank you for your service, Bruce Willis. Hey, thanks for your comment. I do what I can. I'm trying to be part of the solution, right? I mean, I was an ignorant American for so long. I was the biggest. I don't maybe know not the biggest, but I was huge part of the problem. Ignorant, living my best life, watching the bullshit coming out of Hollywood, super freaking selfish, consumerism, all those things. And now I look back and I'm like, well, I got a lot of work to do to make up for that. I was part of the problem. I was part of the problem that unalived those millions of Iraqis, because I was ignorant. I didn't know back in early 2000s and I didn't know how much our government was, the dirty deeds they were doing. That's why I use my platform to speak out about it now, because I got a lot of amends to making up. Once Upon a Day in Iraq. Okay, documentary. I'll watch it. So, Once Upon a Day in Iraq. I thought I put time there, but I'm going to do it. So, documentary. And by the way, speaking of documentaries, on my YouTube channel here, in my reviews series, I just reviewed Tantura. I don't know if you guys have seen that, about, pre-Israel going in and destroying. It was part of the Nakba, right? Moving out all the Palestinians in any way possible. But I will check out that directory or that documentary. U.S. want a leader like Putin. Yeah, I'm skeptical of all leaders, but I do believe it sounds like he's doing some good things over there. I don't know. I think all these leaders, they could all very well be compromised and not working for the same people. 2020 documentary. Okay, 2020 documentary. Haven't heard of that one. Let's see what we got here. That's one bulbous head. It is. It is. It hides my huge brain. Your opinion on Pakistan and India and U.S. concerns. I'm not very well versed on Pakistan, India. I mean, U.S., yeah, I'm sketched out by the U.S. I always like to joke around, if I see the government proverbially coming down the street, I'm going to cross to the other side, get out of their way. They sketch me out, but I don't know about what's going on in Pakistan and India. Very little. Why so many innocent lives lost? You get to Saddam and his regime. Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying he was a good guy, but I am saying we're not good guys either. We actually supposed Iraq against Iran before the first Gulf, or so maybe you supported Iraq versus Iran before the first Gulf War, and then Iran-Contra scandal. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what's messed up, is that the U.S. has used these countries as tools. It's so sinister and so sick. Go fight our enemies for us, and Israel has used us that way too. That's how you're dealing with some sinister people, is we use other countries because we don't want to get the blood on our hands. It's too sick, man. A fellow egghead. Yeah, eggheads, you must unite, Left side and right side, same bird. I agree. And I think people are waking up. I think people are waking up. Blacks for Trump. I used to support him because he wasn't a politician, but then the more I see that he does, giving money to pharmaceutical companies, giving millions to Palantir, sketchy. I want to believe someone is out there working on our behalf in the gov, but I just can't see it. Uh, I used to think Trump loved America too, but too much money, 100 million from Miriam Adelson, 230 million from APAC. I mean, too much money flowing in. People work for who pays them the most money in this world, and I'm not seeing it anymore. I think he is another rich man's trick, unfortunately. It sucks to say, but do you think the U.S. was involved in peacemaking Pakistan? Again, I'm not very well versed upon that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Once upon a time in Iraq, a 2020. Okay, so was made in 2020. Okay, I'm with you. Timu Bruce Willis. Homer Simpson. That's a new one. The military industrial complex, you know it, right? That's where all the money goes. Please turn on the monetization thing on YouTube. I'll definitely donate. Hey, thank you. I'll do that. I don't know why I haven't got that on there. I appreciate you. Well, I know why, because I don't think I'm eligible yet. That's why. When I do, I appreciate the sentiment. What are we preaching here? Well, we're preaching freedom and awakening and being a part of a solution, right? Uniting humanity, being on the right side of history, finally waking up to the lies and deception in our world. And we're talking about sharing documentaries, etc. Let's see. What do you think of Elon's NEE party? Okay, so are you talking about the new American party? I just barely found out about the other day. I don't watch the mainstream news, and so I miss a lot. I get all my news from, basically social media and or YouTube, so I miss a lot. Again, I think anyone who's on the global stage, including Elon, anyone who reaches that level has been put there by the people that run our world, and so I'm suspect of all of it, to be honest. Again, back to the idea of everything is a rich man's trick. Maybe he has to play the game to get things done. Perhaps there is that. But the problem I have with that is the game has hurt people. Playing the game to if Trump's playing the 5D, 6D, 7D chess, whatever it is, 4D, I don't know. Playing the game has hurt people, and I've known some of those people, and I'm not down with, sacrificing any human beings in the name of, helping us all to wake up or get out of the mess we're in. I just don't see that as a viable option, right? I don't see giving millions of dollars to pharma companies as a way to, are we winning or giving it to Palantir as a way to winning? Because the problem with that is I just look at trends. What's the larger trend? It's just like the wealth transfer. See, I think the biggest problem facing humanity is the consolidation of wealth, power, and control in the hands of a very few. Do you guys see this? From all over the globe, they're going into third world countries, taking resources and wealth and strip mining it back and sending it back to first world countries, right? England and the United States. And, those are the two epicenters. But that's the biggest problem with the world is the consolidation of wealth, power, and control in the hands of a very few. I wonder, where did Saddam Hussein's gold go that he was going to use to back or to sell his oil for gold? Where did it go? Did it stay there in the hands of Iraqis? Did it leave the country? Same with Muammar Gaddafi. Where did the gold go? I have to believe it didn't stay there. Deport Pablo, but leave my housekeeper alone. Sensible things, apparently. I want to live free, you'd never catch me on US soil, part of the deal. You know what? I agree with you. I've been looking heavily at overseas, you know, following a number of people that are doing that. I'm on X at gmarkphillips. I'm everywhere at gmarkphillips. Thanks for asking. If it's an America First anti-Zionist party, I'd vote for it. I think it's coming. I think it's coming because Americans have had it with the bullshit. The other day I watched a video, I forget what channel it was on. It was fantastic, and the guy predicts. See, there I know there's a lot of people in the occult and Christian vein that are talking about, hey, this is end times and we're nearing the end, etc. And I'm not ruling that out. That could very well be true. I'm not ruling that out. But this guy was not looking at it from that perspective, but he was looking at it from this backlash that is forming. I mean, Jake Shields is exposing a lot. Jimmy Dore, of course. I mean, so many people are talking about what Israel's doing in these Zionists. I think there's a huge backlash coming, and he said that there could be a point in time when America is like, if you are that in that realm over there, you know, you're not welcome here because of the damage that they've done to our country, exploiting and using Americans and all over the world. Please check your email. Okay, I'll do it. Elon is not anti-Zionist. I agree. You know, again, because I just look to see, and I see money runs the world, and whoever has the money is going to have all these people on the hook. They may pretend to not be playing for that team, but I think a lot of it's a rich man's trick. Thing is, if you say anything whatsoever about Israel, you'd be called anti-Semitic. It is, but that's changing. That's changing. Many people are realizing now the difference, and I even make the distinction in my own videos. I've been very clear to say, you know, Zionism is not the same as Judaism, and I share a lot of, you know, Orthodox Jewish people speaking out about it. There's a whole bunch of them, right? A whole bunch of them. Agreed. Yeah, the gold is Fort Knox. That gold is Fort Knox. It could very well be, you know, I wouldn't doubt it. That's why not audit. There is more gold there. Yeah, right. I did hear talk about that. They were going to audit it and they never did. I think it's there. And it's also, what's the building in England? It could be underneath that building in England too, where they store all their gold. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the follow. Yeah, I try to share as much of my stuff that I find. Again, just sharing knowledge and information as I get from other people. I try to share it on as many platforms as possible. Again, being part of the solution to the degree that I can. Yes, I love that statement. I support Jesus, not the people that murdered him. Amen to that. And I also think about that. I sometimes question how Christians can follow or be down with any government when apparently governments killed their favorite guy. You know, if a government killed my favorite guy 2,000 years ago, all governments, past, present, and future, would be personas non grata to me. But somehow Christians have forgotten that they killed their favorite guy. Now, I realize there could have been another group of people that tricked the government into doing that. I'll leave it at that. But still, how in the world are Christians supporting any government or taking anything any government says at face value when governments killed their favorite guy? It is wild. It is wild. The Bible has people twisted in the coconut. It does. I'm skeptical of that too, because I think it could be tampered with. You know, the blood will be on our hands and those of our children. Yes, it will. You know, we've all played a part. You know, at some point in life, everything about life is a decision. Do you want to wake up or do you not want to wake up? I made a decision to wake up, as uncomfortable as that may be, because what happens is when you're speaking truth, Ron Paul said it, in an empire of lies, truth is treason. And you might piss off some people, you might offend some people, but I'm not going to live a lie anymore. We can't live a lie anymore. Too much pain and suffering has happened from it. Should abortion be illegal? You know, I haven't spent a lot of time on that topic. I mean, I'm not down with, unaliving anyone, but I'm going to sit that one out. I haven't given that enough thought yet. Surface level, anything you hurt another human being should not be down with, but I'm going to sit that one out. Draw forge. If you'd been adopted, I wouldn't have to work and pay taxes. I used to be glad Trump was back in office too, but I'm skeptical. I don't see it anymore. I was super bummed when Biden won, because I see Biden in 2020. I was super bummed because I was still in that left-right paradigm. I'm like, oh, our guy has to be in for the world to be right, with things to be right with the world. And I've come so far past it. Again, I think they're all working for the same people. I don't think there's a left and a right. I think there's puppeteers pulling the strings of all these political, civic, religious, even religious leaders, and they're puppeteering everything and pushing an agenda down the road. Again, I look big picture. What's the trend? The trend is we continue to lose freedoms. We continue to lose money, right, given to the military industrial complex and all these other countries and all this BS. I don't see it. Abortion is legal and suicide is not. Why are we not talking about Hamas? Well, what about them? Again, when I don't know much about Hamas, to be honest. I mean, I know what the media tells me. I've never seen a picture of. I've seen very few pictures of Hamas soldiers. Maybe they're all dressed up as little kids and women and men wearing plain clothes trying to dig people out of rubble. I don't know. I've seen a lot of IDF soldiers, a lot of them, and they have the best gear and they're all organized. So I don't really know much about Hamas other than the fact that Netanyahu's own party said they gave Hamas, I think it was 1.4 billion through Qatar back in the day. It makes sense. These, again, the puppeteers pull the strings and they fund both sides. We know, I think it's common knowledge, all wars are bankers' wars by now. Bankers win the money. They lend money to both sides. Back to your comment about Iran and Iraq, my understanding is they were financed, that we were selling arms to both sides. Our world is sick. There's some sick mofos out there. And then you look at the damage it did to the cultures and society. It's just sick. And then I think that's what they do to us too, is they're puppeteering us. Oh, left versus right, gay versus straight, the fighting. They love the fighting. They don't care what we're fighting about as long as we're fighting. My spirit will rise from the grave in the world I see. I was right. I have nothing against any religion. I strongly oppose any case where religion is used as justification. Yeah, I agree. Me too. I don't, again, why are we not asking Hamas to release the hostages? I'm asking them. I'm not for either side. Like I say, I think we're all being deceived on a grand level. Yeah, I think it's a mess. Skull-filled Bible, cough, cough. Amen to that statement. The other day, and I've got a short video of a young Christian kid basically laying it out, saying, hey, the Israel of the Bible is not the Israel over there that was created in 1947. Many people believe that it is, and I can't get into their mind. I'm not, I don't fault them for it. I don't believe that. I could be wrong too. Let me not be arrogant about it. I could be wrong, but it's just wild. The founding fathers of that country are bankers. And they created that country for their own personal agenda and or nefarious reasons, super nefarious reasons. I don't know how people can't see that, but then again, I could be wrong. You can twist scripture to make people pay taxes, and yes, you can, and send money to Israel and support a completely different religion. You can twist it. I think that's what's happening I think that's what's happening nowadays is the powers that are running this world, and their structure is breaking down big time. They're manipulating and they're exploiting people's faith. I think that's what's happening. They're exploiting people's faith, and just this continual dangling carrot out in front of people that if you vote for my guy, I'm going to help you. It's just wild to watch. Let's see. Oy vey, those who bless Israel. Yep. I will check out the etymology of scapegoat. Yes, our nation lost its sovereignty since the Organic Act of 1871. Or did you mean, no, you do mean, I don't know about that, but I don't doubt it. I think this does go far back, right? I think we lost a lot of power also when the Federal Reserve was created. I mean, 1913, that's wild. Divide and conquer. Amen. Yeah, why don't we ask Israel to release Palestine? Yep, 76 years of brutal, oppressive occupation. And the thing of it is, when I think about what's going on over there, I think a lot more people they might not be okay with it, but if Israel wasn't doing bad things to the Palestinian people, and then in the media trying to say we're the most moral, we're good, we're the good guys, we're just defending ourselves. If they would own their actions, I think people would have a lot more respect for them. I would have a lot more respect for them. If you're coming in and saying, "Hey, we're going to conquer your country and do bad things to your people, deal with it." The world, you can at least respect that, but the duality is what's screwing up people. The Hasbara media machine, the whitewashing, the PR machine, right? Hiring all these best advertisers in America to come in and produce this image of complete and total lies. That's what people are waking up to. You are halfway to being a conehead. I am. Israel have 10,000 Palestinian hostages. Yeah, I've heard that the prisons are full. A lot of them little kids. Fully agreed. Thank you. Yeah, why are there so many preachers on here? They sound like crazy people. Well, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate all the thumbs up. I appreciate your comments and the engagement. Thank you so much. Again, if you want to follow other of my social media, I share different things in different places, shorts, tweets, etc., anywhere at G Mark Phillips. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I wish you guys all the best, health, wealth, and success, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.